The View. Laverne Cox defends romance with MAGA cop amid scrutiny. Actress Laverne Cox appeared on The View, and her romance with a MAGA cop came up. It was a hot topic and something that could not be ignored. Yes, she has faced an immense amount of backlash, so what did Laverne have to say about the relationship? Keep reading for more details. Laverne Cox has always been an advocate. For years, Laverne Cox has been a prominent and well-known advocate. She has been an openly transgender actress who speaks on LGBTQ+ rights, who appeared on Orange is the New Black. Laverne was also on The Masked Singer and Inventing Anna, receiving Emmy nominations and more for her work. However, there was one incident in her life that the Mobile, Alabama native struggled with, and The View immediately brought it up. The 54-year-old appeared on the hit talk show on Monday, June 8th, and her personal life was a subject to be addressed. It seems that Laverne had dated a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, MAGA Republican voter. He also happened to work for the NYPD, but it was his political affiliation that caused so much drama. Fans could not believe someone who was so progressive and worked for the LGBTQ+ community would be with someone who had such opposing viewpoints. However, Laverne Cox noted that she had no idea what his background was and that he was a good man. She wanted to try to see past his Republican status, but soon enough, it was too hard, as she shared on The View. "I love him, but I love myself more, and staying in this relationship, I betrayed myself, not just my political values, because, in theory, I'd like to believe we can have relationships across political differences. But there was a value difference." The actress had shared her romance with this man, and then was slammed for being with someone who was MAGA. After all she had done for the LGBTQ+ community, it was unbelievable that she would be with someone seemingly anti-trans. They met on Tinder, and Laverne claimed she had no idea what he did for a living. In the end, she had this to say about their romance. "Fascism is not consistent with my values. I am an anti-fascist. I never adopted any of my ex's politics. I always challenged him with love and empathy and tried to listen to his perspectives. Often corrected him with facts. The good things about the relationship were so good that I was willing to work with the politics that I didn't agree with." A lot of questions. After fans saw Laverne Cox speak on The View, they had a lot of questions. Although they understood she was in love, they did not understand why she was with this man for 3 years. There were also questions about whether or not her partner was willing to admit he was dating someone who was transgender. However, others did not believe what Laverne was saying and did not care for her story. It seemed like she was making excuses for being with someone far too long, who gave her a bad rap in the community. Did you watch Laverne on The View, or are you over the show? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The View. Laverne Cox defends romance with MAGA cop amid scrutiny. New York. A fresh wave of online debate has surrounded actress, producer, and LGBTQ+ advocate Laverne Cox after reports and social media discussions focused on her relationship with a police officer, whose political views have been described by critics as supportive of the MAGA movement. The topic quickly gained traction online, sparking passionate conversations about love, politics, and whether personal relationships should be judged through a political lens. While reactions have ranged from supportive to highly critical, Cox has made it clear that she believes people are more complicated than the labels placed upon them. Social media erupts. The controversy began after fans started discussing details of Cox's relationship, with some questioning how one of Hollywood's most recognizable transgender activists could date someone whose political beliefs appear to differ so dramatically from her own. Within hours, hashtags related to the story began circulating across social media, with thousands weighing in. Some users argued that the relationship was hypocritical, while others defended Cox's right to date whoever she chooses. Many supporters pointed out that healthy relationships often exist despite political disagreements, while critics insisted that politics can reflect deeply held values that directly affect marginalized communities. Cox pushes back. Rather than avoiding the discussion, Cox reportedly addressed the criticism by emphasizing that people should not be reduced to a single political identity. She suggested that real-life relationships are often far more nuanced than social media debates make them appear. According to those following the conversation, Cox believes empathy, communication, and understanding are essential qualities in any relationship, especially when partners come from different backgrounds or perspectives. Her comments have resonated with supporters who argue that meaningful dialogue becomes impossible if people refuse to engage with anyone holding opposing views. Fans divided. The internet quickly split into two camps. One group praised Cox for demonstrating compassion and refusing to let politics dictate every aspect of her personal life. Others argued that dating someone associated with MAGA politics sends a confusing message, given Cox's years of advocacy for transgender rights and LGBTQ+ equality. Some fans questioned whether ideological differences could eventually create tension in the relationship. Others countered that love should not be treated like a political campaign. The debate illustrates how celebrity relationships increasingly become public battlegrounds over larger cultural issues. A bigger conversation. The controversy has expanded beyond Cox herself. Commentators have begun discussing whether Americans have become too politically polarized to maintain friendships or romantic relationships with people who vote differently. Relationship experts have long suggested that couples with opposing political beliefs can succeed if they share mutual respect, honesty, and strong communication. However, others argue that political disagreements today often involve fundamental questions about human rights, making compromise much more difficult than in previous decades. That broader debate has fueled continued interest in Cox's relationship. Public figures under pressure. Celebrities frequently face intense scrutiny over their private lives. Every social media post, public appearance, or reported relationship can become the subject of headlines and online speculation. For Cox, whose career has been closely tied to advocacy and representation, the attention has been especially intense. Supporters argue that activists should still be allowed private lives, without every decision becoming a political statement. Critics maintain that influential public figures inevitably send messages through their personal choices. Online reactions continue. Comments across social media remain sharply divided. Some praised Cox for promoting understanding rather than division. Others expressed disappointment, saying they expected someone with her public platform to avoid relationships they believe conflict with her advocacy. Still others criticized internet users for attempting to police another person's romantic life. Many observers noted that very few people know the full reality of the relationship beyond what has appeared publicly. That uncertainty has done little to slow online speculation. The complexity of modern relationships. Relationship counselors often note that couples can successfully navigate differences involving religion, culture, family traditions, and politics. Success usually depends on whether partners respect each other's boundaries and maintain open communication. In today's highly polarized environment, however, political identity has increasingly become intertwined with personal identity. That shift has made cross-political relationships more controversial than they once were. Cox's situation has become a high-profile example of that cultural change. Support from fans. Despite the criticism, many fans have applauded Cox for refusing to let public pressure dictate her personal decisions. Supporters say her willingness to defend the relationship demonstrates confidence and independence. Some argue that encouraging conversations across political divides may actually reduce polarization rather than increase it. Others believe every individual deserves the freedom to define their own relationships without outside interference. Critics remain unconvinced. Not everyone agrees. Some critics argue that politics cannot simply be separated from personal values, particularly when issues involving LGBTQ plus rights remain central to national political debates. They contend that choosing a romantic partner inevitably reflects broader beliefs and priorities. Those concerns continue fueling online discussion, with many insisting the story is about more than celebrity